Chicka chicka chick chick wah.
Guess who's back again. Waifu cast. Tell a friend. Waifu cast.
Good evening, husbandos and waifus. And waifus and husbandos.
Could have been the greatest.
Nigga, that was the intro?
It might as well have been. Fucking keep that shit in.
I am Orifice.
I am happy about what you're saying.
This is Luna Kage.
That's who I am.
And to my left is the Silent Knight, Ryusuke.
Hey, what's going on?
Ryurameshi. The Re-Spirit Re-Detective.
He is the Silent Bob to my fucking Caitlyn Jenner.
With that being said, alright, so this is episode 3 of the Waifu Cast.
Oh,
this is going to be a
how
very...
appropriate, E3 for episode 3.
Hey.
Episode 3!
Hey, we're going to do E3.
Jesus
Surprise.
Christ.
So, a couple things. First off,
2.
we're not going to talk about EA, and
No.
we're not going to talk about Bethesda.
Oh, fuck Todd Howard.
I mean,
Basically, if you paid any attention, you probably know why. We're going to focus mostly on Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft, since those are the most important ones. Ubisoft had a decent showing. I think we'll cover that first, probably.
Yeah.
Just
Sure.
get that out of the way. Ubisoft. All right, so I'm going to give you my opinion on them first.
Is they fuck boys?
They annualize their games,
Oh.
where
In the
they
worst way.
release a game in an iterated form every year, meaning with minor improvements every year, and it's basically by and large the same shit. And they Ubisoft is responsible for everything that I don't like in modern gaming today. The Division, For Honor, Ghost Recon, the most recent one. What was it? Wildlands or
Wildlands,
some shit like that. And then Assassin's Creed, all these series that they have, they found a way to make every single one of them feel similar and stale.
And the problem is with Assassin's Creed, they even took a year off, and it still looks like they didn't even attempt to improve anything.
See, now getting into this E3, they showed off a new Assassin's Creed that had been leaked prior to its announcement. So
Is
it's
it
not
even a
news.
leak at this point if we know we're going to get another one every year?
That is
Well,
kind of true.
Like he said, Ryusuke said they took a year off.
Oh.
So we didn't get one last year. But it does. From what I've read and what I've been seeing through the coverage and whatnot, is that people like it more than the previous games. But it doesn't. There's nothing to indicate to me that it's somehow some much more expanded upon.
They
thing.
go through this shit every year. People always see the trailer and get hype.
Yeah,
And say,
well,
"Oh, it's good," and then
Ubisoft's
they'll be
the
shit
biggest.
talking it next year.
Ubisoft's the worst offender for. We'll show you an announcement trailer at E3 that blows your mind, and when you
Hey,
get
them
the
niggas
game,
making
it's
some hype-ass trailers, dog.
Well, dude, Watch Dogs. You could go into the settings in Watch Dogs, the actual coded settings, and you could access the E3 settings.
Mm-hmm.
Air quoted. You could make the game look as good as they made it look at E3, but they didn't have that by default for whatever reason. It's just nonsense. It's that's just bad business as far as I'm concerned. But moving on, they announced a new game called Skull and Bones. It's a pirate game that's essentially just a game made out of the ship mechanics from Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. It looks like it's going to do what For Honor did from melee combat to pirate games, and it doesn't look anything special to me.
Mm-hmm.
They announced Beyond Good and Evil 2. I was going to end with this, but I can't remember the other shit at the moment. So
Nothing was really that noteworthy, in my opinion.
Beyond Good and Evil 2 is it's mostly noteworthy because of how long it's been coming. Seems to me, though, the game that we're going to end up getting is going to have very little to do with the original game, and that's kind of
Probably.
disappointing. And, of course, they're making it one of their giant multiplayer games that they want to push. And I'm just meh.
It just feels counterproductive.
I think the best thing they showed, honestly, was the Mario and Rabbids game. It's essentially, they announced a Mario XCOM, similar gameplay to XCOM. It's a turn-based strategy with exploration and whatnot, and it mixes the Mario and the Rabbids series. But it looks really charming. It looks like Ubisoft, since they're the ones developing it. That's actually interesting. Seems like they understood Mario.
It's kind of crazy. Like Nintendo doesn't usually let third parties touch Mario that much. Do they?
They don't usually let
what's
third
that
parties
new dude's
touch
name?
much.
Yeah.
The new nigga over there is. He's letting everybody do whatever now.
Well,
He's opening up now.
well, it's because Nintendo had to.
Yeah.
I mean, the Wii U was the poster child example of what being
I always
close.
forget his name.
I don't know what.
Starts with a K. I can't remember.
They're I don't know. I feel like the Switch is definitely a step in the right direction for them, philosophy-wise, at the very least. They allowed it to be more open for developers. They gave the player options with its design. You know, being able to pick your games up and go.
Let me just kind of like just kind of prove why it's a step in the right direction, right? As someone who never owned a Wii and never cared to, and as someone who never owned a Wii U and never cared to, I want a Switch. You know?
Yeah,
I don't have one, but I do want one. Like, it is one of the games that kind of feels like, you know, the gimmick is not about trying to break ground in a weird way like the Wii U and the Wii was. You know, the Wii was like, oh, motion controls, do it, please. And the Wii U was like, oh, we got 2 motherfucking screens.
I feel like the Switch, its gimmick was really like trying to push forward the way that gamers are able to consume their games.
Yeah.
And that's a gimmick that I can get behind. That's something. Right. That's an idea that I can.
It's definitely a thing that I can support.
Yeah. I guess before we get too deep into all the Nintendo shit, we should probably wrap up Loopy though.
Yeah. All right. So first, let's start with Microsoft and.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. Microsoft is something. They announced
multi-plat conference.
So, all right. So Microsoft came on stage and announced their Xbox One X. Okay.
It's going to come in a box, right?
So first of all, let's address this. The acronym there is Xbox.
That's great.
They ain't clever. Microsoft, you're not slick.
I think they're super
I caught you. You're not slick. Moving on. This box, it for sure is the most powerful console ever made.
Yeah.
But it's $500 for one. I'm not gonna sit here and say that the box itself is not worth that $500 for what you get, because it is. It is what its specs are and what it is justifies the $500 price. What I think doesn't is the fact that all of the games that they sat there and talked about, and I can't remember all of them specifically, but Metro Exodus, Forza 7, and that's what I can recall.
For what they showed.
For the Microsoft, their games that they showed.
Well, Metro is going to be multiplayer.
That's the point I'm trying to drive home. Is everything that they showed games wise at their conference was also coming to PC,
or
Windows 10 specific, or PlayStation, but everything was coming to PC at least.
I'll interject for a second. I'll say that like the box is worth $500, but they didn't deliver on what they originally promised last year, which is the whole 4K 60 uncompromised. Because a lot of those games we saw were
locked at Destiny 2's locked at 30 frames.
30 frames, or checkerboard rendering, or dynamic resolution and shit like that. So I mean, even though maybe more games will run 4K 60, for $100 more than the PlayStation 4 Pro, I'm like, is it really worth it?
I'm in the camp that would tell you that the PlayStation 4 Pro's not worth it.
Yeah, me either. I don't think it's not worth it either. But how, it's like your one bargaining chip you're supposed to have, you don't even have it.
I will say
the new Assassin's Creed was running at 30 frames per second, dynamic resolution.
I just kind of want to like interject for a small second. Like, I'm not really necessarily defending the PS4 Pro, but I do know that I was mentioning how Tekken 7, you have to run it at 720p on the PS4 in order to get the full 60 frames so that you can like play the game for real.
It's 900p.
No. on the regular PS4 you have to run it at 720 in order, like on a regular setting. That's because it is 900p. It's not 1080p. But on the PS4 Pro, you can run it at 1080p.
Okay.
And without any sacrificing.
See, but I'm saying I'm paying $100 more to play a game at 1080p.
I mean, no, you're right.
That's what I'm saying. The push and the drive and the thing that they're driving home with the PS4 Pro and the Scorpio Xbox. I'm calling it the Scorpio. Fuck that. Its name is stupid. Both of them are driving home 4K.
It's your sign.
And then both of them don't even consistently deliver on 4K.
Yeah, and I don't feel like any of them deliver true 4K. That's the problem. My PC can put out true 4K,
Right.
no matter the game, as long as my graphics card can support it. But these consoles are struggling to fake it.
Exactly.
And
but
they're charging you for the privilege for that. And that's like, so I think it's ridiculous that Microsoft brought this out with a smile on their face as if it's like somehow shattering the fucking, experience that people have been having. It's nothing new, really. It's nothing that I haven't been able to do on my PC this entire console generation.
My whole thing is I gotta still play in fucking 30, then it's not even worth the upgrade.
And here's the funny thing, too. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of, like, the failed add-ons for, like, the Sega Genesis.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, too.
Like, the 32X more specifically, where it's like, oh, we're going to upgrade our current console with these technical things instead of just releasing, like, a new console, waiting a while. And that shit flopped hard. You know what I mean?
I honestly... through talking with people, I think that this thing should have been modular. I think you should have been able to make upgrades to it.
Devs wouldn't be trying to hear that shit, though.
Setting scaling isn't hard to do, though. So Microsoft is not going to support obviously every piece of PC hardware, right? So design a graphics module for low, medium, and high settings, and the people can choose which configuration they want to buy.
But then at what point do you just get a PC?
This is obviously going to always be aimed at people that are not PC people. Like, if you have a PC, this Xbox One X is never going to be for you. Like, Sony even said...
Well, I'm saying, as far as making a modular console, I mean, that...
I'm just saying that if they because they're talking about releasing a new $500 box every couple of years. A whole new thing.
Right.
That you have. Why would you... I would rather you release a base unit that I can upgrade for years and years and years to come instead of having to buy the whole $500 thing every time. Because it's like when you release the new unit, after a certain point, that first unit isn't going to be supported anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you could never afford to upgrade to the next $500 unit and then the next $500 unit, you're obsolete now.
Kind of like how there's new 3DS exclusive games.
It's the same shit as PC. It's the same concept. It's just you're not grasping it or seeing the worth of it because you're a PC owner. It's like, why would you buy a console that you can upgrade when you can buy a PC that you can upgrade?
Yeah.
I get that for sure, but this new Xbox isn't for people like us. It's for people that are against the idea of having a gaming PC. Period.
Because and it's
they
funny
like the
too.
ease of hooking their console up and playing it.
Because I'm one of those people, and it's like it's something I can't explain. But every time I try to play a game on the PC, I just can't enjoy it the same way as when I play into the console. It could be the same fucking game, but I just can't. I can't do it. I don't know why.
I feel that way about emulation, but I also feel like emulation and what you're talking about aren't the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like that for emulation too.
I've never been able to enjoy emulation. All right, but anyways, getting back on topic and moving on. Okay. So Microsoft, as far as we're concerned, obviously we're not their biggest fans, so we don't have a lot of good to say. I will say that Forza's definitely looking good. Forza's a great racing series. I'm not going to knock that. Metro looks good. It's not my cup of tea, but it looks good. And I mean, they showed some good stuff, but the problem is that none of it's really coming from them exclusively to that.
And the shit that is coming from them was all boo-boo, dog. Fucking Sea of Thieves.
Oh, Sea of Thieves, yeah, we didn't even talk about that new Rare game. I don't have much to say about it except for that it doesn't look as interesting or as good as Rare's pedigree.
Well, Rare is gutted. Like, why they even still call that
pirate game?
Yeah, why they even still call it Studio Rare is beyond me, because all the talent has left Rare long ago.
Yeah, if anything, it's super.
Those niggas have been making fucking dashboard avatars for the past how long Microsoft has owned them. So I don't. The name Rare doesn't mean anything to me anymore, honestly.
It used to mean a lot, and that's sad. Like, you want to know what, man? Jet Force Gemini is one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, I'm not positive if it's underrated, to be honest with you. It's just, I haven't met a lot of people that have played it, but it's great. Donkey Kong Country is one of my favorite games of all time. Battletoads is great.
Battletoads is Rare?
I think so.
Yeah, Battletoads is Rare.
Wow, I didn't know that.
But, well, I don't know. Well, what I get out of this whole thing is, you know your shit is stale when your biggest reaction you got from that whole conference was the announcement of being able to play 16-year-old fucking games.
Yeah, original Xbox games.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's great for the consumer. It's great to have that option, but
Ninja Gaiden Black.
Don't come at me like that shit's like some hype shit.
Yeah, no, to be honest with you, though, as much as you say that now, when we get to Nintendo, I'm pissed that they didn't announce a virtual console. I want those old games. So in the case of Nintendo here, it is kind of a big deal. But I want to do Sony next. If I had to grade Microsoft, and I don't want to get into like failing grades or anything like that, but realistically, I would fail them. But we're just going to go with a C-. We're going to go from an A to C- scale.
We'll give them a D for D's nuts.
That's what they sucked on. But
they didn't even do a good job because they did not climax.
They left a mess,
too.
Like,
I don't know. It just... That brand has no identity, which is the problem.
But, see, okay. Actually, I'm going to take 1 second here because I'm going to give you my thoughts on the matter. Microsoft makes more money than you can possibly imagine through software licensing. For Office, all of those things. Realistically, they can afford to take every single loss that they will take from this Xbox, and it won't affect them. And for them, it's just another space for them to occupy, and why not do it? Because they can afford to. So from that aspect, I understand. But it's like, if you're going to do it right. Like, the 360, hate it or not, at least had an identity.
Well, the thing is, the 360 in the beginning was trying, and they were trying hard. Mm-hmm. And that's why it popped off the way it did. But that and the way they revolutionized online.
And even the original Xbox. Like, the original Xbox was
managed to forge an identity, being their first console ever. Yeah. But they just... I don't even understand it either, because it's like the Xbox One, it's had an identity crisis from day one. It's changed the way that it was marketed, the way that its UI works, the way that everything has been. From day one to now, it's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
Because nothing they did worked, and nothing really has worked.
It just feels like the Xbox One is just a knockoff of the PS4. Because everything the PS4 is doing, Xbox One is also trying to do.
I actually personally believe when they advertised it as like a media center, that was better for it than what it eventually became, because it at least was unique then.
Yeah.
You could have your TV going while you were in the UI, all of that, having an out and in for HDMI. I still think it was stupid, but it was better than just turning it into a PS4 Lite.
Yeah.
I mean, I got no PS4 Lite. It's pretty much a PC Lite now.
Yeah, it really is.
At least PS4 has fucking games.
So, all right. So, with that said, we're gonna transition over to Sony, and I want to preface this because as much as there's gonna be a lot of praise in this, I actually overall think that Sony's conference was kind of trash. It was a trailer reel.
We watched the same conference we watched last year,
and it was literally lazy as fuck.
Yeah. Now, the way I feel is, after all the shit with Microsoft, people joking on Twitter saying, when Sony, all Sony has to do is show up. But then I didn't think these niggas would really just show up.
And that's literally
which is what
all
happened.
They did.
Here's some videos.
Sean Layden comes on stage. There's some Indian niggas playing some music.
And they bring out that bullshit Uncharted spin-off that I couldn't care less about.
Why the spin-off is still getting stage time, but not just stage time, extended stage time.
It opened the freaking presentation.
Yeah.
And they had
So
to
wait,
put-
it's an Uncharted spin-off?
based around the female characters, because you know that them SJWs and
Well,
boy.
you remember seeing the conversation we had earlier? This is that shit I was talking about. This
Yeah.
is
To
Druckmann. This is
us, it
Druckmann's
was
baby.
earlier.
and it was never more apparent to me than in that
Yeah.
trailer and in those man.
This is Druckmann's Uncharted. and
I will
hate
say
it now.
though, one of the things, I don't know if, because I don't think Naughty Dog is the one developing the Crash trilogy.
No,
But,
Activision's doing it.
yeah, but one thing about the Crash trilogy that I thought was cool that they did add that could
Coco?
be, yeah.
Oh,
fact
the
that you
ability
can
to play
as
Coco.
Yeah,
like
that's cool,
in everything. Like I'm like, that's pretty cool.
That
That's
is
cool.
neat.
Yeah.
That game already had me sold at $40 with 3 of the best platformers of all
I
time.
know.
Yeah.
I love them.
But give me another character to play, and that's okay. But getting back to the conference,
Yeah,
so
they started out with not one but 2 expansions, which those didn't need extensive stage time.
yeah, they
like
gave
that.
Horizon an expansion.
I didn't need a trailer for that, bro.
Was
No.
it Horizon 1 Dawn?
No,
I know, right?
Horizon. Something about something about cold. And
Some
you're
Winter
Some winter
Soldier?
Yeah, what? Yeah.
Horizon Zero,
It
the
didn't
Winter
stage
Soldier
time.
Dawn.
That's something you announce on YouTube. I didn't need that. On the
Yeah,
stage.
no, 100%. That was a waste of our time. I don't remember sequentially how everything went, but they showed Days Gone again, which still has no date, and that game literally looks like The Last of Us meets
with bikers.
yeah, like The Last of Us meets like a kind of like a Dynasty Warriors almost with the amount.
It's just too samey. I feel like Days Gone could be good. Maybe we just don't know. Like maybe the story's going to carry it.
Well, I
don't
did
know.
see that after
But-
their conference, they showed a presentation where they showed the same mission they showed in the conference trailer, done in a winter setting and like under completely different conditions.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool, that the missions can be like dynamic
Mm-hmm.
based on how you account. But even then, though, that's nothing I haven't seen before.
Right,
and
right.
The game's pretty, but it's just another action game.
Yeah, it's too much of the same.
And its pedigree too. It's coming from Bend Studios. They're the ones responsible for every Siphon Filter game,
Yeah, and they did Uncharted Golden Abyss for the Vita.
and they also did the. It's not a lesser known game, but the Retribution. I think it was
Was it
Resistance Retribution.
Oh, they did that
yeah,
too?
yeah,
Okay.
for the PSP, and that's
Yeah.
regarded as one of the better PSP games.
Yeah, so this is their first game since Golden Abyss, which I thought they'd been ready to go, like, early next year since they've been under wraps for so long, but I guess not.
Yeah, and they didn't even give you any indication on when that thing was going to
Yeah,
come.
I just hope it's worth it.
They
but,
showed off Destiny 2, didn't they?
Yeah, no one really gave a fuck about that.
I'm going to play Destiny 2. I'm going to at least give it a shot. But it's not something I'm hype about. It's not something I'm willing to even
It just-
spend a lot of time on.
It looked like Destiny 1.5 to me.
No, see, I disagree. But it doesn't look like Destiny 2. What Destiny 2 is, as far as I'm concerned, is the game that Bungie wanted to make the first time. Activision has put so much pressure on them to put those games, or put that game on shelves. Like, Destiny 2 was more ambitious than it ultimately is going to end up being, but Activision said they needed to have it out this year. And that kind of pressure on a developer is going to make things end up like Destiny 1 did, incomplete.
Yeah.
That game, it took them several releases and a lot of money from the consumer to get that game
Dude,
to be fun as far as people were concerned. And that's just unacceptable. Surprises, though. We got some of those. Well,
Did
one...
did we?
Shadow of the Colossus!
Oh, okay. I'm thinking,
Alright.
okay. Alright.
A full HD remake of Shadow of the Colossus. Not a remaster.
Remake.
Yeah,
I'll
been
play
done
that.
by Blue Point.
Remake.
I haven't even played Shadow of the Colossus.
It's been done by...
Oh, dude.
and I know it's amazing.
It's exactly what it needs to be, because it's not like it's gonna be the same exact game but with modern graphics in it.
Yeah.
And that's going to be amazing.
It's going
for
to.
that
The
game.
it was
Like,
great too, because the
like, just
trailer
remember-
rolled. No, look,
Okay.
just listen to me.
The
The trailer rolled,
Yeah.
all right, and it's scenery, and then you see this just iconic Shadow of the Colossus landmark, okay? Iconic landmark, and it was just like, in that instant, there was no name, there was no title or anything to tell you what you were seeing, but I just knew in that moment that I was seeing Shadow of the Colossus, or at least, I thought at first maybe a sequel. I didn't
I would have
realize
liked that.
I'm almost more okay with this. That game is it's art in game form. That is one of those games that it would be disrespectful to try to expand on the game itself.
Well,
That's why I
not
feel
with the Shadow of the Colossus 2, but just like how Ico is technically a sequel to Shadow of the Colossus.
And I'm pretty sure The Last Guardian is also like thematically and everything linked to those games.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that even if they don't even add any new Colossus to the game, if it's exactly the same game as it was when it came out on the PS2, I'm perfectly okay with that because it's a masterpiece of a game.
That game is already visually amazing.
It's still. I'm saying you can boot the. I mean, maybe not the PS2 version anymore, but at least the HD remaster of the PS3 the PS3 version, and it still looks great to this.
Yeah, it looks good.
And like fucking with PS4 graphics, like that makes me excited.
And it's being done by Bluepoint, which is like the best port house in gaming.
They will do a good job,
Yeah.
and they'll remain. It's going to be faithful to the game, and that's important to me. I think that that game is so largely responsible for what Breath of the Wild ended up becoming.
Yeah.
There's so much inspiration from Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah,
the climbing in the world is definitely inspired by the climbing of the Colossus.
And just basically the whole wake up and do work.
Seriously, too. You're just thrust into the world, and you discover as you go. We're going to gush over Breath of the Wild on another time, but that's going to be a whole episode itself. So moving forward from there,
we got Monster Hunter World.
We got Monster Hunter World, which initially I was really hyped about because I was like, okay, another Monster Hunter game, cool. But the more I've watched the trailer a couple of times now, and I'm very afraid that they're going to cheapen the mechanics of that game.
Isn't that the one with guns that I was seeing?
There's guns in the other ones. It's just because the other ones have been limited by the technology of the console they've been on for so long.
They dropped 20 minutes of gameplay.
Of World?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I haven't watched it yet, but I know they dropped it.
Well, from what I saw in the trailer, it just looks like it's more geared towards a Western audience, and that frightens me slightly.
When I saw that it was Monster Hunter, I thought I was looking at Gears of War Jurassic Park version.
Yeah, initially so did I. It was I
knew it was Monster Hunter right away.
But the problem that I have with it is that Capcom initially they said in an interview that they have no plans to bring a Double Cross over here.
Yeah.
And that's coming out for the Switch and the 3DS, and I'm really excited about that one. They then later clarified that they have no plans to do it right now, which leads me to believe that it is going to come because I feel like that'd be a massive missed opportunity for them.
Yeah.
But Monster Hunter World is just inherently less exciting to me just because I don't like Western gaming. And I don't care about pretty graphics in my Monster Hunter or an open world in my Monster Hunter if it's going to be a not as deep experience.
I would say watch that 20 minutes and make a judgment.
Yeah, I definitely... I'll get back to you guys in the next episode, my feelings on that gameplay and everything, but as it stands right now, I'm cautiously interested. I'll definitely give it a shot regardless as a fan of the series, but I'm definitely not pulling for it to be best in series gameplay or something like that. We also we got the new God of War.
Yeah, we got a longer trailer for that.
See, God of War is interesting to me because I really enjoyed those older games a lot for the story. I've always had a fascination with Greek mythology. I really find it very interesting. So those games and their play on it was something that gripped me. I like Norse mythology too, and I like that they're doing that for this game, and it's visually beautiful. But again, it's one of those games where I'm not the type of person that likes to be taken for a really pretty but really short ride. And God of War games are typically, somewhere in the range of 6 to maybe 10 hours long.
Even then, 10 hours for an action game is super long.
That is pretty long.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, game has to be really good for me to want to replay it.
Yeah.
Or it has to, Bayonetta. With the little bit of Bayonetta 2 I tried, I could imagine myself actually going through and trying to, get higher scores on the stages.
Bayonetta 2 is great.
But that's because that game's mechanics are fun and they're deep. But I'm not so sure that God of War is going to have that. I think it's just going to be visually impressive.
You said they were breaking into Norse mythology?
Yeah. I don't. To be honest with you, I can't really give you a lot of context to the story because I don't know. But it seems like it's the same Kratos, and it's just far into the future.
Yeah.
And he has a son now, and the world they live in now is, populated by the Norse gods. And he's still the Greek god of war, but he, lives in this... I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't.
I thought Ares was the Greek god of war.
You kill Ares at the end of the first game. That's that's like the plot of the first game.
Okay.
And then the plot of the second game is that Zeus betrays you and you have to kill Zeus. And then the plot of the third game is that you have to defeat the Titans.
Take out Zeus and then the Titans.
But yeah, it looked good. I'm interested to play it because I didn't play any of the first 3. I don't kind of such it, but this one looks more my speed. So I'll give it a try.
I'm gonna play it for sure just because I've beaten the other games in the series. So
I won't.
You might have to if I let's play it.
Oh, well, I mean, that's fine.
I don't know.
I won't do it myself.
What else did we see?
I think the last thing of note was Spider-Man.
Did they drop anything before that?
Spooderman. Where does Dragon Ball FighterZ come?
Oh shit, that was Microsoft.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
That was during the Microsoft conference.
We're gonna have to take a pause here and talk about Dragon Ball.
I mean, that does
FighterZ.
come out on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah,
too,
so it
anyway,
counts.
so-
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So we haven't talked about it, but Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is coming, and it looks like some boo-boo nasty garbage.
It looks like some hot.
This is
Dirty
Waifu
garbage.
Cast, and its waifu game is atrocious.
Oh my god.
You know it's bad when I look at a team game, two members per team, and I'm sitting there like, okay, looking at this cast, my team would be X and 0. 2 dudes.
And he plays waifus.
I play exclusively female. There's a problem if I pick a man in your game.
Bro, Morgan and Chun-Li look like shit.
Every character looks like shit. The
don't get me
graphical
wrong,
style they chose for that game is just so
Like,
bad.
who okayed that shit?
Apparently, it was Disney's fault.
Well, seriously,
Disney has ruined everything.
They're trying to push the Marvel
Like,
Cinematic Universe. They're really poking their finger at fucking Fox. They're making problems because Fox owns X-Men.
and you know what the thing is too is like they probably came to Fox with a deal, and they're probably trying to fuck Fox. They probably really are trying to fuck Fox, and that's why Fox won't give it up.
No
And I don't
items,
blame
Final
them.
Destination.
However,
Yeah.
Arc System Works is coming to your rescue
Yeah.
with Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Yup.
That
Which
shit
is
was
a more...
proper nice.
oh, man, that game is coming
That
out to
is-
fill the void that
is the
Marvel
Dragon
vs.
Ball-
Capcom 3 left.
That is the
Fill
Dragon
all
Ball
the
fighting
orifices.
game we've deserved for so long.
It's the anime fighting game we've deserved.
It's the Dragon Ball fighting game
Preach.
that I've always wanted since I joined the fighting game community.
Mm.
Because I'm like, every time... Because, like, I love Dragon Ball. Like, Dragon Ball Z fucking was obviously my childhood. It's probably the reason why I became a weeb. And that was before I was into
Same.
waifus. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like... seeing this get the Arc System Works treatment is fucking ridiculous. Because, like, the last 8 years of my life have been spent playing Arc System Works games.
Well, for me, it's like... I haven't been big into fighters for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But anime fighters are the ones that appeal to me the most. They're the ones that I like to watch the most. And this is the first anime fighter that has the potential to like break through that anime fighter stigma and get into the big, get exposure.
Yeah.
And
Because like Capcom heads, like Capcom fans, like Street Fighter players and shit, which is obviously like probably it's the highest turnout game at tournaments. You know, any Street Fighter, the most current one is going to be the most played game.
Yeah.
But 90%, I'd say, of that audience loves Dragon Ball Z,
and they're going to flock to this game.
and they're gonna want to play this game.
Well, with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, that's going to divide the fan base, at least of Marvel vs. Capcom. There are going to be people that'll defend it mechanically, and there are going to be people that are going to hate the changes. But I think it's going to split the community big time, and I feel like this game, this Dragon Ball FighterZ, is going to bridge the gap between those two. It's going to allow that divided community to kind of unite around
because it is a 3v3 fighter, just like Marvel was.
It's built on the Exard engine.
Yeah.
3v3?
It's 3v3.
It's 3v3.
Okay.
It's got the Exert engine, so like
Nice.
fucking it looks
It's gonna
beautiful.
look
It looks like you're watching the anime.
Yeah, there's already gameplay clips. Have you seen them?
I haven't looked at it yet.
You gotta
Alright.
look at
Yeah,
them.
we'll show you.
Fucking the only characters that have been completely confirmed so far, you got and it's cool because like what they're doing is like typical of Arc System Works, and I love it. You got Goku, who fights in his Super Saiyan form, or maybe Super Saiyan 2. Who can really tell? And then his level 3 super.
Fans are going to rage in the comments because they can tell.
I can actually tell, but I got to look pretty hard.
There's like no difference.
So during his level 3 super, he transforms into Super Saiyan 3 and does a big ass Kamehameha and then goes back, right?
Yeah.
So it's like me, because like when I think of Dragon Ball, like the Dragon Ball in general, my waifu is transformations.
Yes.
Because I love the fuck out of grow more hair. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
I want
it's like,
you to.
When that hair goes gold, every single time, I just get a little bit. I just get half-mast chub, just a little bit. Like I see it all the time, and like they just blink into it. They're like, "Yeah, I'm blonde now." I'm like, "Oh, that's me." You know what I mean? Like, fuck, I love it. So the fact that they're addressing the extra transformations without going the classic route of like, oh, we've got Super Saiyan Goku playable, and another character is Super Saiyan 2 Goku, then another character is Super Saiyan 3 Goku, another character is regular Goku.
I feel like they handled it well in like Budokai though, where you could just do a button input to transform.
Yeah, but it was still too needlessly like bogged down for an actual 2D fighting game in the vein of like an Arc System Works game.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how would you really implement that? Because they do have installs, which Frieza has in his golden form.
Will you explain to the casuals what an install is?
An install is basically just a transformation that usually costs something. Most of the time it's meter, like it's considered a super. You know, you do the super and you get an install for a certain amount of time. Some games and or characters will have that character stay super until the end of the round or installed. Some like I actually think no because let's bring up fucking Soul Bad Guy, right? You know his God, what's it called? His dragon install.
Yeah.
That's what an install is. That's where it gets its name, the install, because it's his dragon install. Right. You know, he transforms. Probably his fucking his appearance will transform, and it'll get buffs to certain things about the character. Sometimes it'll be like their regular attack power. Sometimes it might be their speed. In the case of Yosuke, like Yosuke in Persona 4 Arena, his Sukukaja.
Oh, when he does his awakening.
No, Sukukaja. The speed buff.
Yeah, okay.
That's an install. It buffs his speed.
In the first one, it was like an awakening. In the second one, it was an install.
Something like that. And like, for example, Dante and Virgil from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, they both have Devil Trigger. That's an install.
Okay.
So it's basically just a transformation. So if they were to do that for every single form Goku has, how would you make that work? You know, would it be like,
that's acting on different inputs and stuff.
It's like, oh, you need 5 meter and you can go Super Saiyan God, like, and then what's that going to buff? Just take half health with a punch, you know? It wouldn't really work well. So in order to address that, certain characters like Frieza, who's in the game, he fights in his perfect form, not perfect form, his final form. Not 100% final form, but his final form. And
his white and purple, like, you know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And he has an install, which I think costs 1 bar a meter, where he goes his golden form.
Okay.
I don't know what it buffs, but it's clearly going to buff something.
And it's cool.
Yeah, but his golden form runs out over time, so it's on a timer, just like Dragon Install, just like I think Devil Trigger does that too. So in a game series or a series in general, like Dragon Ball Z, where every character's got some kind of transformation, seeing how they're going to put those transformations in the game is going to be interesting. Because I've already theorized that we're going to for sure have 2 Gokus and 2 Vegetas.
The Super Saiyan God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like and here's the thing too, I think they might even make it a skin for regular Goku. Like, for example, instead of fighting in his Super Saiyan form, he'll fight in his Super Saiyan God Blue form.
Well, what I was thinking is that it could be, like, or I guess I don't know, but is there, like, an equivalent... Will there be, like, an astral equivalent, like an ultra attack, if you will?
I don't think so. Like, usually our System Works does put those in there, but we haven't seen anything like that.
I think they'll do it.
The only thing we've seen that even comes close to that is Gohan's level 5 super, which is the father-son Kamehameha. But that didn't have any special effect, I don't think. It was just a big-ass super.
Oh.
So I don't think they're going to have
I couldn't
instant
see anything
kills.
being bigger than that, then.
Right. Plus, like, you think about it, like, it's a team game. Like, what would be the conditions for insta-kill?
Oh, yeah, you're right, yeah.
You know? So
probably not, then.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So like the way that they're doing it now, it just makes it interesting. There might be some duplicates of characters, like you might have regular Goku and Super Saiyan, and a Super Saiyan God Goku, who might be like, in order to make them completely different gameplay wise, which is important, right? All the characters really are going to be a little similar because of the way they structure the game, just to make it a little bit more accessible. The only way we'll really know their differences is when we start getting down to like frame data and shit like that.
Yeah.
But for those two Gokus to be different, they could make it so that, you know, the Goku we know, his level 3 super is him transforming Super Saiyan 3 going, you know, and then, you know, goes back. But Super Saiyan God Goku could be in his Super Saiyan Blue form and then have an install where he does Kaioken, because that was in Super.
Okay.
And that could be cool.
Okay.
Or they could just make it, or they could just move it over and have that be just an alternate costume for regular Goku, where instead of being in Super Saiyan 1 in his base form, he's Super Saiyan Blue.
How do they handle his Super Saiyan 3 transformation?
They make that as Kaioken. So he goes Kaioken and does the big command.
Ah.
These are just possibilities. Like,
It's good ideas, though.
I know nothing concrete. One character I'm sure is going to get 2 forms is going to be Gohan, because
Teen and a young.
teen and adult.
Or, yeah, teen and adult.
Yeah, so like we've got Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan, which was the most baddest of ass of all Gohans. And we're probably, for his adult form, going to get Mystic Gohan. So he's going to have the black hair. And, which I think would be a lot better, you know, especially if Yamcha's
Mystic
not going to be in
Gohan
the
is
game.
so great.
He is cool.
I'm glad that they brought that back out of him in Super, because that was the way, like, of all of the egregious errors that GT made, that was the worst.
Yeah.
Gohan being a dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of shitty.
Another
I mean, it's
idea.
fine. He's a dad.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well,
He was the
he's gonna
strongest
have to
fighter.
be a bitch.
Yeah, I know. He was the strongest fighter. Point of all of this is that this game is going to be fucking awesome.
I want to keep talking about it. I want to bring up another possibility. Future Trunks. Right?
Kid Trunks.
No. I don't think, like, honestly, I don't think Kid Trunks or Goten are going to be in the game. If they're represented, it's
Maybe
probably going to be
Gotenks.
Gotenks, yeah. And again, that could be to differentiate Gotenks from Goku, because those are the only 2 characters that ever went Super Saiyan 3. They could make Gotenks have an install that's Super Saiyan 3. And, like, just these possibilities to make them different while representing the different forms, it just excites me. And another character that has multiple forms now is Future Trunks, because he comes back in Super. And, you know, we know he's got Super Saiyan. You could have been like, okay, are we going to have him keep his Ultra Super Saiyan where he looks like Broly and shit? Or, most likely, they're going to throw in his new form from Super, where he kind of gets like a blue aura while still maintaining Gold Super Saiyan. That could be an install. That could be an attack. And, like, I know he's going to be a sword character. You know what I mean? And that's going to be sick in Arc System Arc shit. And fucking the new Super characters, I want to see Caulifla in it so bad.
Yeah, you've been saying that.
Yeah, because like
that's the one that's got the Broly transformation.
No, there are two female Super Saiyans now canon. Caulifla is just fucking regular.
Okay.
She's like, you know, her hair's already spiky. Goes Super Saiyan, it's gold. She's got a big fucking red beam of death. And it's sexy, right? Then you got the one who I guess is all shy and meek. I can't remember her name. But yeah, she basically has a Broly transformation. I don't know how she gets it. I don't know if it's I don't know if they're up to that point in Super yet, but they could have her in the game too. Like, that would be weird. Like, you have her fight in her base form, and when she transforms, she becomes completely different. Or you just keep her in her base form and have her be the surrogate Broly, and she'd be a grappler because she's fucking big. She's probably gonna be slower than everyone else. You know, and they're gonna need grapplers for this game. So who would they have be grapplers? There's a lot of big characters, but most of them are usually just as fast as everyone else.
Right.
So, like, just thinking about it, because, like, when you think about the previous DBZ games, they never had that shit in mind. It was always like, let's just put as many forms in this game as possible because that's what it's about. Put 90 characters in them. They all play the fucking same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is a real fighting game catered towards guys like me,
right?
While still having the fanfare of Dragon Ball fans. So thinking about all the legitimate possibilities, I want it.
I feel you.
And that's the last I'm going to say about that. We could have had an entire episode on that,
and I'm sure we will in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be Connor Dodge.
So.
Okay.
That obviously wasn't the Sony conference, but Sony ended their conference with Spider-Man.
Which was dope as fuck. Fuck you, Derek, shut up. It was dope as fuck.
I don't have a lot to say about this game. Because if you ask me, it is Spider-Man Arkham City.
Which is good.
So it's the bad thing.
Right. Like, I mean, the only problem I had with Arkham City is that it was a Batman game.
I don't want to play... I don't understand how it's a good thing to basically completely rip something off.
I mean, if we're going to be real talk here, like, if you played Spider-Man 2...
On the GameCube and, like, PS2, and
yeah,
that game was awesome.
The evolution of, like, the Spider-Man combat isn't that different from Arkham.
Yeah.
It's not that different. Arkham took that, and I guess you could argue it maybe it perfected it.
Okay, all right. So I'll even backtrack then and say that maybe the argument that it's too much like Batman is wrong, but it's still like everything else. There's nothing that sets that open world superhero game apart from, say, Infamous.
You can web swing.
But you can do all of this kind of mobility shit in... I mean, it's not web swinging, but you're still moving around the city pretty quickly.
I don't know. There's something so good
Spider-Man.
about being a Spider-Man fan.
See, that's not like justification enough to me to say that it's going to be a good game.
Dude, I spent $60 on Spider-Man 3 just to web swing. Because I wanted to do it.
It's so much fun.
It's like
the web swing mechanics are good. That's what makes a good Spider-Man game.
Dude,
that's some thrilling shit.
Yeah,
I guess
I can pop in like a podcast and kill a couple hours just swinging through the city.
Even like shitty Amazing Spider-Man 2 had some decent web swing mechanics. That's fun in that regard.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't see the trailer.
I guess if you don't really give a fuck about Spider-Man,
it's not even that I don't give a fuck about Spider-Man. It's that fucking Breath of the Wild really spoiled me on to traditional sandbox games.
You can't fucking web swing and watch for a while.
No, but I do a lot of other things.
I mean, this nigga acting like riding horses, revolution.
No, you can't sit here and try to tell me that Spider-Man is even close to the same echelon of...
Breath of the Wild didn't spoil me, though. Like, it was good, but I wouldn't say, like, it ruined things for me.
It's objectively better than every other sandbox game up to now.
Okay, yeah, sure. But it didn't
I don't think that Spider-Man is going to be better than it.
I didn't say that.
I
just don't think that Breath of the Wild diminishes Spider-Man for me. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be. I'm
not arguing that Spider-Man is a bad game. I'm simply saying that I don't.
But it sure would be great if everything in this town had a property, and if I could, I'm not going to be thinking about that. I'm going to be thinking about beating niggas' asses.
I'm going to be thinking about web swinging. That's all I'm going to think about.
And that's fine that that's what you guys enjoy, but like in a world where
the highest build and jumping off and web swinging at the last minute.
In a world where there are so many games to play and so much shit coming out,
I'm telling you, dog,
that's not impressive.
I mean, you're right.
You got to think of the.
You are right, and I say that because like even though I want to play this game, there's going to be a good chance that I won't even get it.
I'm getting that shit day one.
Like and like if I play it, it'll be.
And they put Miles in it, dog.
They put Miles in it.
Yeah, Miles is going to be in it.
Miles Morales.
I couldn't care less.
All they got to do is they put Gwen in there. I'm busting nut, dog.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's all right.
Spider-Gwen in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
Really buzz.
If we get like
this isn't another license game.
Or let me just get fanfare. Let me just feel the dreams here. If we get a fucking sitting in a tree expansion, the fucking the arc where Gwen and Miles team up.
You need to go back to sleep and dream some more.
Hey, this nigga got motherfucking 30 minutes on goddamn PBZ. Let me talk about Spider-Man.
Hey, man.
You ain't lying.
I had stuff to say.
I'm just saying.
And that was some good content.
If we got like an expansion for that story, oh, that shit would be.
I spent the first 30 minutes of this podcast not saying shit because I'm like, they're talking about American games. I don't fucking know anything.
Hey, I don't blame you, dog.
So that was Sony's press conference. A trailer reel.
Yeah, I give it a B-.
Yeah, B- solid for me too. I mean, they had some good stuff to show, but it's like they simply just came, rolled the trailers, and then left.
Yeah, I gave it a B at first, but after watching the second time, I guess it's B-.
Yeah.
But as far as the whole rolling trailer shit, I feel like it's kind of double-edged sword because any other time they do anything else, people bitch.
Well, we're about to talk about Nintendo, and I said this to you earlier on in the week. It's like Nintendo did the same thing. It was just a trailer reel, but it was more impactful what they showed. Because like Sony didn't show anything that they hadn't already announced, except for Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
Everything else was just additional footage for games that we'd already seen. So it's like that. So moving on to the Nintendo conference, right off rip, we get a trailer that shows Splatoon, ARMS, and Rocket League.
Yeah,
talking
that was
about,
pretty hype.
Which I really enjoyed this because that's the only time they talked about ARMS, Splatoon in the podcast. In the conference.
Hell, they didn't even really need to because, I mean, at that point, ARMS was like days away.
Yeah, but that's why I'm glad they didn't waste any time on it. They moved right over to Pokemon after that, and this was wonderful because...
Wait, I thought they'd open it up with Xenoblade, didn't they?
I think Xenoblade was after Pokemon. Yeah, okay, it was either one of those two things.
It was Xenoblade first. I'm almost positive.
Doesn't matter if we go in order either way.
Okay.
Let's talk about Xenoblade, though, since you're so sure it was before.
Hey, dog.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2, first of all, the most important bit of information is that it was confirmed that it's coming this year.
Yeah, it's coming, October? September?
They didn't give it an official date, just holiday 2017.
The second most important.
No, I think they did. I think they did give a month.
Oh, maybe they did.
I'll look into it later.
Maybe
I think
it's December?
No, it's either October or September. One of the two.
That's soon.
I don't think that's true because Pokken's September and Mario Odyssey's October. And they have nothing slated for November or December yet. Yeah, it's confirmed for holiday 27.
Okay. All right.
They did confirm that that's releasing worldwide, though. I didn't care for the original.
I have to play it still.
I didn't.
I bought it when I got my Wii U, and I just never went back to it.
I will say, the main waifu is pretty good.
Yeah.
She looks high.
Hey,
She's
did
got
you see the titties on Sword, bitch, though?
Kyra?
Yeah.
Did you see the fat, like, fucking, just when it's trying to poke out, fucking tight straps and shit? Yeah. Fucking the thigh meat.
I like the style of the sequel better because it's more anime driven.
Yeah, it looks cool as fuck.
Yeah, it
and
looks
then, like,
really
it has,
good.
like, kind of like Persona SMT-esque elements where, like, your stats are tied to, what?
Poles.
I know.
What are they called?
Blades.
The weapons?
They're called blades.
It's whatever blade you have equipped.
Your characters are called drivers, and those are the ones you have like direct control over. And they each equip a blade, which is like another character that has its own move set and whatnot. You could switch between the blades you have equipped and whatnot.
Yeah,
it's actually really neat.
I think you pick up new ones like.
Yeah, so it's got a catch 'em all aspect to it.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
It's borderline like Persona.
So then, more catch 'em all news. They confirmed that a mainline core RPG Pokemon game is in development for the Switch.
Yeah.
So
Okay, hold on one second though. They didn't say a mainline core RPG, but they did say RPG. And
they
then,
clarified after the fact in interviews, though.
They said it was going to be like one of those train capture shit like that, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be like.
They would be dumb not to make a mainline.
No. Like it's going to play the same way, but I'm not saying it's going to mark a new generation or anything like that. If anything, like, and I'm also not even saying it's going to be a remake of like Sun and Moon or anything like that. It's just going to be like something along the lines of like a DX or Coliseum.
I really disagree wholeheartedly. It's not going to be
because the way I look at it is
it's going to be the exact same thing.
Every time they've talked about Pokemon in home consoles, they've always said we won't do it because this is supposed to be a take with you experience, a handheld experience.
They're trying to get the same Pokemon experience on the Switch that they have.
And now that the home console is a take anywhere experience.
Exactly.
No
Well, that's.
Are you going to do some more 3DSs? No.
I mean,
I'm not saying it's impossible that it's not a GX or Coliseum, I guess, but I seriously doubt that.
I mean, I would prefer if you guys were right, but I also won't be upset if I'm right because I'm still gonna think it'd be cool. You know what I mean?
Well, so will I, and I'll still play it either way. I feel like the reason they made that announcement the way that they did is because it's going to be like Sun and Moon in those games.
Also, it's probably because like everyone was so disappointed
Exactly.
after the Nintendo
Yeah.
Pokemon Direct.
After the second time watching it, like I was hyped the first time, and then after I watched it the second time, I'm like, this nigga surely did just be like, hey, you know that RPG we've made for every handheld we've ever made ever?
It's coming to this one,
We're
too.
making this one too. Now fuck off.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like, here
Stop
you go, you little whiny
bitching.
bitches.
That's what. Then I was like, yeah, why are niggas really excited for this common sense announcement?
Right. But, so we got Rocket League.
I'm hyped for that. Even though, I mean, it's an old ass game, but now I can play with my homie Tim.
Real
The
hype.
homie Tim.
We got Metroid Prime 4 announcement.
You guys are hype. I don't give a fuck about Metroid, but I will admit that.
Oh,
it's
well,
hype.
maybe it's just me then.
I just don't care about Metroid.
You know
I
what?
understand the weight, but I don't care about Metroid.
You cannot like the series and still understand how important
But-
that announcement is.
But
I just want an other
could
end
they have
too.
just done something a little more than a fucking JPEG, nigga? That's just how I felt about it.
I feel
Like,
like
you niggas just dropped a JPEG, dog.
I feel like they had to make that announcement to. It's
Even
a
if it was
promise
CGI
essentially.
trailer. Throw some.
It's
throw
probably
some
super
together,
early
dog.
on in development. They probably
Yeah.
don't have that.
I mean, you don't got to be far in the game development to make a CGI trailer.
I mean, then again,
Have you ever made a CGI trailer, homie?
No, I'm saying
It's
not.
a labor.
What I'm saying, it's not tied to the game.
Yeah, but a CGI trailer takes a long time, much longer time to make than a JPEG.
Yeah, a lot. I'm just saying
that 30
they
minutes
showed
later.
off. They showed off Fire Emblem Warriors, which I don't really care about.
I want.
Fuck that game.
I want that game.
Okay, stop trying to fucking sell me Dynasty Warriors, dog.
Hey,
Stop it.
You don't have to care. I do, because I like Dynasty Warriors.
Like, holy shit.
I like just cutting down like
I hate
fucking
these niggas
scores
so much,
of
dog.
bitches.
I
with
don't
my
want it as
swords.
Gundam. I don't want it as One Piece. I don't want Samurai Warriors. Quit selling me the same fucking game.
It's fine.
It's the same game.
It's fine.
It's always the same game.
It's fine because I do. So quit your bitching. Sit down. Be
You gotta
humble.
switch, dog.
Be humble.
Sit down. This will make me get a Switch. All right. This will make me get one.
I'm so done with these niggas, bro.
Well, so
but this is one of the things that might because you guys have a Switch, right?
Yeah.
I don't. So these are supposed to be the games that are going to be like, hey, get our system.
It's Dynasty. You can play that shit anywhere, dog.
Not as Tarja.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. Did they announce Tarja though?
Not yet, but fucking.
This nigga's
she's
gonna
like-
be tilted if they don't play.
You're right. You're right.
tilted up
You're
the
right.
face of the earth.
But in
They'll
fairness,
drop
I'm
$400.
pretty
Dog,
sure
Tarja never comes.
Lucina's already confirmed. Didn't she?
He's like,
I don't know.
We gave you Muriel.
I mean, realistically, Tarja's one of the most popular Fire Emblem characters.
there's no
So,
way
like,
they won't put her
it's
in there.
very, very unlikely that she won't make it. Like, Smash was one of those things where it's like, she might because she's super popular, but if she doesn't, I won't be surprised. But in a Warriors game, where the whole point is like, let's fucking throw characters that just press
Yeah.
square, 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 triangle,
She'll
except,
make it. If she
yeah.
doesn't, they're dumb.
So they talked about Rocket League,
Yeah.
Rocket League.
which I mean, there's nothing much to
Yeah,
say.
it's Rocket League.
It's Rocket League.
I'll play it, but
Yeah,
it's
so
not. It wasn't a bomb.
They announced a new Kirby game, which you have to like Kirby
game's
to
gonna
like
suck.
Kirby.
Ah, you sneaky motherfucker!
It took you a second.
It did,
You were
it
sitting
did.
there like, well, you know.
Okay.
It actually looks really good to me.
I mean, it looks like Kirby.
Yeah.
You can just get
That's
your
what I was
power-
gonna say.
yeah.
I mean, Kirby, you either like it or you don't.
Yeah, I mean,
I like Kirby. I've never really played Kirby.
I haven't
but-
been super into Kirby since Nightmare in Dreamland.
Yeah.
Like, I played it for the SNES and loved the shit out of it. Got Nightmare in Dreamland, loved it, and fell off after that.
Yeah.
I have it for my 3DS, but I only played it for a minute.
They announced a new Yoshi game.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like a new Yoshi's Island.
Cool. They announced a Little Big Planet game with Yoshi in it.
Yeah, whatever. But then they showed off Mario Odyssey, which, like, honestly, that's game of the show, as far as I'm concerned.
Like, game of the show as far as, like, everything, or Nintendo?
I would probably go as far as to say game of the show.
I'm still
for
giving that to
everything.
DBZ Fighters, though. I'm still giving that to DB Fighters for me. What about you, my deflated balloon?
I mean, it was alright. Like, you know, you throwing hats.
Throwing hats.
Possessing niggas. I can possess niggas in Dark
Mechanically,
Cloud,
it
too.
looks like the best Mario game since Mario 64.
Probably, yeah.
Oh no, that's see. I don't know because Galaxy was good. That's I don't want to
Yeah,
get wrapped up in saying
yeah,
that shit. It looks
Galaxy was good.
the
It looks,
amount of openness to the game, the amount of shit that you can do because you can literally possess everything. A giant T-Rex, a fucking person. You can fucking possess a tank and shoot shit. I mean, obviously, none of this is groundbreaking, but it's never been in a Mario
okay,
game,
I'm
and it's
glad you
never.
at least admitted that, because some niggas are out here acting like this shit is like
I feel like
never been done before.
no, there is literally no better controlling platformer out there than Mario, as far as I'm concerned.
Crash.
No,
I've
I can't give that to Crash.
I've always liked Crash.
No.
I like Crash, but I can't say it's better than Mario.
Mario
Well,
is
the 2D
fine-tuned to
games-
perfection,
The
and I
2D
think that
games I think are really super good, but I've never liked how the 3D games felt.
Really?
that's fine. Totally, I'm not gonna argue with you there, but for you, I feel like it's the most finely tuned platformer there is, and to take those not ground-breaking mechanics and add them into the most finely tuned platforming game ever, it's going to improve on stuff a lot. It might not, but
I don't know.
nothing's not going to work, I feel like.
I think it's cool. I'm just not. It didn't make me want to get back into Mario.
I never felt, I've always loved Mario. So it's
I've always liked Nintendo, but I've always been like one of those. I like everything but Mario.
I'll tell you what I really want on the Switch, and this will like solidify me getting it.
Yeah.
And like, as much as people, you know, don't want ports and shit, fucking, you put Mario Maker on that system.
I don't know why they haven't. Yeah, that's the perfect system for it.
I want it on the Switch because like that game.
I think that'll come though.
Like I've played that game very little, but there was such a magic to fucking playing levels that my friends made,
Yeah.
and they're just sitting there. Like Sky, my old roommate, he always used to call them his mixtapes.
Yeah.
You know, and he just let me play them, and they were always like an exercise in fucking getting into his mind. You know, it was like a really interesting thing. It wasn't just a like, oh, let's troll you by putting 50 million bullet bills on the screen. You know, it wasn't shit like that. It was shit that made you think. Like, for example, he made 2 different worlds type deal in the same level, where he literally took a picture of the one so that he could recreate it perfectly to give literally the exact same thing to make you think you were going into the same thing, but you really weren't. One of those had a hidden item that you needed. You know, like, it was literally this fucking cerebral shit, and I'm sitting here like, Sky, you're a monster. and you combine that with the fact of like, fucking, I've never had more fun watching Let's Plays than I have watching Mario Maker Let's Plays. Like, fucking Game Grumps, amazing. Beard Bros, amazing. Fucking Dashy, that motherfucker's fucking retarded, and I love him. When they play those fucking Mario Maker games, you know, fan-submitted levels, it's just fucking, it's literally the greatest Mario game, in my opinion.
I think it'll come to the Switch. I feel like all the ports they're putting out, Mario Maker has to be one of them. They might add some more.
And if they
stuff
do,
in it.
like, the moral of the story, if they do, we're playing it.
sure. Before we wrap up, they announced a couple of things for the 3DS. They announced a 2D Metroid for the 3DS coming out in September. Which
Isn't that going to be like a remake to
the Metroid 2.
Yeah.
And
that,
I'm pretty
and
hype.
that game needs it more than anyone else.
Yeah, I'm pretty hype about
And
that
then
game
they also
actually.
talked about Atlas was there with Radiant Historia.
Oh yeah,
Deep
and
Strange Journey and Etrian Odyssey.
they got Ever Oasis, which comes out like next week, I think. Well,
Oh, that's next week.
yeah, it's at the end of June.
Oh shit!
What's today's date?
You know we're G as fuck. Like we have just like a researcher on standby.
You could speak, you know.
Yeah.
It's the 17th.
She's so
Okay.
cute.
Thank you.
Today, oh yeah, so today's June 17th, by the way, and I think it comes out next week.
June 23rd.
June 23rd, so
Okay,
yeah, next
cool.
week.
Okay. I will
We got our own
I
little
will
futaba
pirate
over
that.
Ever Oasis is made by Koichi Ishii. He's the guy who made the Mana series,
Yeah,
Secret of
which is
Mana.
really
so-
good.
Yeah, so
I like
I'm
mine.
going to interject for a second, and this is completely off topic, but
What's up?
whenever I hear your voice say Ko, I'm always expect it to follow up with Heat. Like, I was like, wait, what's Ko-Heat doing? Oh, my bad.
yeah, I'd say that overall this is probably the most tame E3 in years.
I would say it was. Last two were great. The one before that was the worst fucking E3
I'd
ever
give,
in history.
before we go forward, I would say I'd give Nintendo a B+. I think that they had the most concise.
Okay. That's not what I give it, but okay. I respect
I
the
mean,
grade.
it doesn't work. Okay, the worst I would be willing to go is the same as Sony. It's not worse than Sony's.
Okay. If
They
I was gonna
wasted
give
way
it,
less of my time.
If I'm going, well, sure.
I mean,
If I was going to
technically-
give it an objective grade, objective is I'd put B- with Sony.
Technically,
Subjective, C+.
See, I like it. Sony had Shadow of the Colossus. DB FighterZ was at the Microsoft conference, and it's coming out to everything. So that's
Yeah.
like, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
but that's like the only reason why technically Microsoft won, because they just so happen to have DB Fighters.
So I guess since Luna didn't pay too much attention to E3
Yeah.
as it was happening, I'm not going to ask him for his top 3 games of
Right,
E3,
right.
but me and
Well, I
you
mean,
should
you know, I mean,
give
fucking-
ours.
I mean, okay.
I mean, I guess you can.
Yeah. I mean, I know the games that
we
are
didn't
coming
watch
out.
them. We don't know what games are.
All right, so let's all give our top 3 games of E3.
Okay, go ahead, homie.
Super Mario Odyssey for me is number 1. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is
Okay.
number 2, and then Dragon Ball FighterZ is number. See, this is tough. Actually, I'm gonna take that back. It's Super Mario Odyssey, then it's Shadow of the Colossus, then Dragon Ball FighterZ. I'm excited for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but not more than Shadow of the Colossus. And that's what I'm gonna go with.
My
So wait, so just so we're clear, third place for you is Dragon Ball FighterZ?
Yes.
And first place Mario. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, mine won't be in any specific order. I'll just leave the 3 that I'm most looking forward to. My first one is Spider-Man, obviously. Second is actually that indie game from Microsoft's press conference, that Cyberpunk one.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that because I love Cyberpunk. And third would be Xenoblade.
Okay.
Okay. Mine. Third place will be Dragon Ball FighterZ. Second place will be the PC version of Dragon Ball FighterZ. And first place
motherfucker.
will be the PS4 version of Dragon Ball FighterZ. Because it wins all 3 of the top spots. Because I like all those other games. But like I would love to be able to say, oh, you know, Pokemon RPG is up there, but we don't know that.
We didn't even get an announcement.
Yeah,
That's why I didn't include it either.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like fucking Dragon Ball FighterZ made me so fucking proud. You know, it's not even just hype; it's proud.
It looks
Pride.
good. Like, it
Yeah.
really does just look good.
It's a good time to be an Arxis fan.
Yeah.
Very good time. Well, that's it for this week. So, thank you for listening.
Yep.
Thank you fucking for fucking shit. Do it up.